Hey, they call it a destination resort for a reason. It's not always easy to get here. I don't know if you heard about our... Yeah, we got a secret squirrel club already that we formed last night in Twin Falls, Idaho. Can I see the hands of all of my travelers last night from Twin Falls? Party bus, rock on, woo! Okay, so for those of you who don't know, we landed in Twin Falls instead of here last night. And everyone's kind of like deer in headlights, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they don't say on the plane how we're going to get to Sun Valley from Twin. They just like, okay, get your luggage and beat it. And everybody's like, So I literally, I called Tina. She's like, is there anyone else on the plane? I'm like, I'm sure there are. Why? She goes, just like, call them out. And I'm thinking, what? Just call them out? She goes, yeah, just like holler out. Who else was from LiveRez? And I said, well, I'm kind of feeling shy about this right now. I'm not sure that this is something I should do. And she said, just do it. So I literally stood up on the plane and said, anybody else from LiveRez on the plane? And 6 or 7 hands, yes. I said, come on, they're sending us a rig. And we all got off the plane, and we kind of walked around. Everybody was looking around trying to figure out what we were going to do. Maurice rallied the troops, got everybody dialed in, and we got everybody organized. They sent some cars down there, and then they switched it up, and apparently there was a party bus, literally, and I think you've seen the videos. And everybody got up here to Sun Valley late. I kind of bugged out and hopped in with a friend of mine from here. Not because I'm famous, but because I'm from here, and I have friends, and I had a buddy who was on the plane, and I said, hey, can I hop in? So I sat in the back of the rig and was so excited to be coming up to Sun Valley. And anytime I can get a chance to come back home is a wonderful time for me because I miss Sun Valley. I miss home. But I'm getting close to being back. All right, so as Tracy was saying, I grew up in a small town called Triumph, Idaho, without television. And I had 6 boys that I had to hang out with. I didn't have any girlfriends. I had all guys, my brother and 5 or 6 other boys. And so I had to try and figure out a way to fit in to their little boy world. So I learned that you have a problem, you serve up a knuckle sandwich, and you go on to the next activity. So that was kind of my MO. And when my dad and my brother took off one day and went skiing without me. And I didn't know what they were going to do. I had never really seen the equipment or anything before. And I looked at my mom, and I thought, I'm stuck with you here for the day. And she, the proud Virgo in her was like, it's all right, we'll make it through the day. There's lots we can do. And I'm thinking music, writing, all these kind of quiet things. And I'm thinking, how am I going to entertain myself all day? And as the day went on, I got more and more pissed that I wasn't a part of the expedition. So when my dad and my brother got home, I said, where were you guys? And what are you doing? And why'd you leave me out? And my dad just very subtly turns and says, we went skiing, and you don't know how to do it. You don't have any equipment. We'll hook you up when you get older. And I was like, oh, no, that's not going to work for me at all. So let's see. I'm not older, and I don't have any equipment, but my brother does, and I can teach myself how. So I literally put my brother's big equipment on, went up in the backyard, packed myself a little track, and taught myself how to ski in the backyard. Yep, I And I was like, Daddy-o! They're all in the house having dinner, and I'm up on the hill just like waiting, kind of tapping my ski, like waiting for him. He finally comes out, what are you doing up there? Get down! I said, no, I got something to show you. And I hiked up there, and I showed him that I could ski. And he said he had a hard time not doing like the Sebastian the Crowd thing, right? Like staring up at me, and he said, put his chin up and said, get in here, you're late for dinner. And turned around, and he said as he went back in the house, he was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with her? Are you kidding me? She just taught herself how to ski. So very shortly after that, they got me some old K2s and got me some equipment, and we went to Dollar, which is just right out over here, and I cried the whole way up the chairlift the first ride up because I thought my brother was going to push me off. By the time I got to the top, I was so pissed from being scared that I just turned around and went straight to the bottom and I made a couple little zigzags, but straight to the bottom, and my brother comes down and says, you're supposed to turn. And I said, yeah, I tried a couple of those. They just slowed me down. So I spent the rest of my life going really super fast on a pair of skis down the mountain. In fact, I got pulled over on Thursday, headed to Cody, Wyoming, The guy comes up to the window and he's like, so what are we doing going 85 and a 65? And I said, I'm an admitted leadfoot. I'm guilty as charged. I know it. And I was a ski racer for a lot of years, and I can't help myself. And he goes, well, if I let you go there, leadfoot, you're going to drive 65 or 85? I'm like, 65, sir. He's like, all right, set a better example. And walks back to his rig, and I was like, oh, phew. But I've been going fast ever since, and I understand we have a lot in common in that way. I can tell by the way this company works and by the people who are here, you don't have any 9-to-5 jobs. You don't have any business hours. You are on the dot, on the spot, 24/7, thinking about it, working on it, trying to make it happen. And that's one of the things we have in common as athletes is we're spending all of our time and energy getting ready to rock and roll so that when you get in that starting gate, you can't say, oh, well, what if I had done that workout and not skipped it? Or, what if I had eaten something better? Or what if I had gone to sleep when I should have? Or what if I hadn't hung out with that person that sucked all my energy away and now I'm having to charge it back up again and I'm on my own for that, right? So it's all about that self-preservation and about doing what you can to never leave any stone unturned so that when it's go time, you can just get into the moment and be ready to rock and roll with it and be in the here and now, right? Because everything happens in the now. Nothing happens outside of the now. We can now think about what just happened, but if we spend our time thinking about what just happened or what happened way back there, or we spend our time too far out there, we miss the now, right? So one of the things that we have to remember to do as those, let's go, head down, we're in the blinders, we're charging on, give yourself the right to settle down and be in the now and enjoy the moment of what you all are doing. And that's what helps you to connect with the people that you're actually connecting with and make your customer service that much better. Because to be loved gives you strength, right? To feel loved. Like this group, Tracy stands up here and he's just got a frog in his throat the whole time he's here because he feels so much love coming from you all to him about the company, about him as a person. But to love another is actually courageous. It actually takes courage to extend yourself to love someone else. And that's what I can feel in this room from all of you, is love for one another. To give what you've learned, give what you know, share your experiences to make sure somebody else has a better go. Well, I can tell you when I got on the, right? And that just happens naturally. It's not a force fit. It's not something they taught you up here on the board in the conference. It's a vibe that perpetuates here because you all keep it going. Well, when I got on the U.S. ski team, it was full of a bunch of catty women. And I was used to we got a problem? All right, let's work it out. Knuckle sandwich, what do you want to do about it? We're going to battle it out. Now we're going to go have a beer. It was like, no, I'm pissed at you, and I'm going to stay pissed at you for a week. Okay, well, while you're busy being pissed for the week, I'm going to be over here kicking everyone's ass, and then you and I can talk about it at the dinner table. And that was kind of how I dealt with it at first, which didn't really win me a lot of friends. Wasn't really the best way to go about it. So I had a coach sit me down and say, hey, listen, we're all in this together. We're overseas, eating weird food, listening to strange languages on a different time zone. We're the 28th least popular sport in the world. Nobody cares. Only the ones that really, truly love ski racing are up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching us race. And so we got to make this work together. So I started sitting my teammates down, and I started having conversations with them about how this process was going to go and how we were going to, whether it was real or not, we had to fake it till we made it in the beginning for a while, but whether it was real or not, we were going to roll out of the van in the morning with a vibe about us that we were the ones to beat. We had unity. We didn't care. Fine, I don't care you went home. You had your laundry done on Sunday. You went to church with your family. You got your fan club here yelling for you. Guess what? I don't care. I got my team. We're tight. And we're over here in your sandbox, and we're about to pee in it. And maybe poop in it, too, if we feel like it. And that was something we had to pull together and pull off. And it wasn't easy. Not easy at all. I had some conversations with some of my teammates. One girl turned, why do you care so much? I looked at her and went, I just do. I care about you and your well-being. I care that you have to take a 20-minute shower in the morning because your SI joint hurts so much that you got to like warm it up to get ready to go. I care. That bothers me for you. I wish I could fix it. Why? I said, I don't know. Why are you battling me? Let's just fix it. And it took a while with some of them, especially one named Hillary Lind from Juneau, Alaska, who was an only child. She was kind of an introvert, super intellect, and she had a really disciplined regimen and something that I followed and watched a lot. And on a real quiet kind of behind-the-scenes zone, I was paying a lot of attention to what she was doing and how she was doing it, only I never got the chance to let her know because we were all in this kind of catty environment. So with this new vibe that I had started with the team, the leaders of the team started kind of coming together and going, okay, we need to accommodate this and kind of get some professionals in here and try and help this whole thing go. So the sports psych guys came in and started running us through team drills and team building programs. And one of the exercises they ran us through was being honest with one another about how we felt and giving each other compliments. So I turned to Hillary and I flopped it out there. I think you're amazing. I love what you do. You have such a discipline about you. Your regimen is fantastic. You're so brilliant and smart. You always have the coolest thing to add. You're fun to eat dinner with because you have the coolest stories from Juneau and your upbringing, and just like flowered her with all this love. And she turned and laughed in my face. And of course, I, being insecure, was like, oh my gosh, you're the meanest person I've ever met in my life. What? You laughed. And so there came the guy from Triumph, boom, 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 built this big, huge wall up between us and pretty much ostracized her and was like, I'm not going to extend myself to you again. You hurt me. That was scary. Whoa, I'm not doing that again. And it took all the way through the next season, several articles in USA Today where they started painting me out as the white horse and her out as the black horse. And her mom finally called and said, you're not winning this one on or off the slope because you're getting thirds, fourths, and fifth places. She's winning, and the articles all have that tone to them. And so here we were in France, and she comes knocking on my door. I opened the door, took one look at her, slammed the door in her face, and went back and sat down. Like, what? And I had to kind of take a deep breath, like, okay, don't be a hypocrite. You got to walk the walk right now. Knock, knock, knock. She knocks again. I open the door. What do you want? Straight up like that. Just kind of posturing a little bit, you know what I mean? I was so stoked she was there, but I couldn't let her know that. And she says, we need to talk. And I said, fine, outside, not in my room. So I put my coat on and we went out for a walk. And we got to actually know each other. And she told me, I'm jealous of your friendships with the younger teammates. I'm jealous that you always seem to find an opportunity to mentor them and to help them along. I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to even start to do that. And I really want to know how to do it, but I don't know how to ask you to help me. And I was like, dude, just chill out and talk to them. Like, don't be all high and mighty and insecure about yourself. You are amazing, and you have to own that in yourself, and then it's gonna float off of you, and they're gonna feel it, because that's ultimately what you need to give them. I'm not telling them anything they don't already know. I'm just being a mirror for them to realize that it's actually there in them. And it took that hard edge off of her, softened her sides up, and she ended up being a really, really good mentor and a really amazing teammate to a lot of the younger athletes. And it's something she still does today, is mentor and work with some of the younger athletes. She's got a little girl herself, and it was one of the biggest lessons that I had in my life was don't judge the book by its cover, but get in there and figure out, where the common denominators are and where our ground is to work together. And it was an amazing story for a lot of the younger athletes on the team, because there was kind of this two-tier thing happening on the team, right? There was this group of us that raced in the World Cup, and we were getting dominant in the world, and we were starting to really build a presence, and then there was the younger group that was coming up. And it was like, how do you build a bridge between that younger group coming up and the older ones that are already kicking everybody's ass? And how do you make sure that these young ones first believe they can and then get the know-how to jump into that next group? And to believe that once they do jump in that group, I'm not going to be trying to sabotage them in some way. Like, yeah, you're not ready for the group yet. Like, you need to stay down over there. So it started perpetuating a vibe within the team that created a mentorship and a camaraderie within the team to where we actually became the team to beat for the first time in ski racing history in this country. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I had some selfish reasons for wanting it to be that way because, one, it's lonely on that podium alone. It's hard, like, oh, poor me, cry me a river. But at the end of the day, when you've won a World Cup and you're the only person from your country who has, all your other teammates have gone home and they're at lunch, and you're standing up there on the podium in between a couple of Europeans and all of their coaches and all their fan club and all their families and everybody, and you're looking at this ocean of foreigners, if you will, and you're thinking, man, I'd really like some company up here. I'd really like a teammate or two. And so I started working on making sure that was the dealio. And for me, one of the best days of my life, everybody thinks, oh, you won the gold medal, wonderful, silver medal, wonderful, got your ass kicked in Salt Lake, woo, at least you got back up on the horse that bucked you off. But the best day of my career was in Sierra Nevada, Spain, when North America swept the podium. We went top 5, 3 Americans, 2 Canadians, and we were like, what's up? We just took y'all down. And we could see Africa from the top of the mountain. Like, how cool was that, right? But that was one of the best days of my career because we all shared that together, and that picture is the one that I actually display. None of the rest of them do. My Hall of Fame trophy and that day are a couple of the little ones that I have around the house to kind of remind myself of that I did do that at one point in my life. But the coolest thing that I think I learned as an athlete traveling the world is that there are resources at your fingertips at all times. And you just have to be brave enough to tap them and utilize them and make them your own. And Kaiserschmarrn, which is a Austrian kind of dessert sort, right? Kaiserschmarrn. It's a fantastic dish. I went into a kitchen in Liechtenstein and had this big gal named Martha who had a crush on our coach, who he used to our best advantage, and taught us how to cook Kaiserschmarrn. So I could bring that knowledge home and then teach my dad how to do it. And every time I'd come home, we'd have Kaiserschmarrn, and now it's something that I keep in my repertoire in the kitchen. But one of the advantages we used to take in Europe was we would find homes or kind of, they have them over there, and they had them back when I was racing in the 90s. They had hotels felt like a home, especially in Italy, the way they run them. They've got grandma and grandpa, and then there's mom and dad, and then there's the next generation, and pronto when they answer the phone, and there's 7 different dishes at meals. And we spent our time seeking out an environment that was as close to home, or that we could kind of come in and elbow our way through and make as close to home as possible. And we'd set up shop because we were lucky. We were the downhillers, speed eventers, right? So we'd come in for a week. Like, you could put your pictures up on the wall. You could, hang your clothes in the laundry room. You could kind of set up shop a little bit at home. And that was something that was really essential for us on the World Cup. And then it got to be in big event time, and we were like, ooh, we got to duplicate this. If we want our performance at the Olympics and the World Championships to be the same as they are in the World Cup, we need to duplicate this. And so in all 3 of the Olympic Games I competed in and in the World Championships, we stayed in private homes that the people had either left and just said, make yourself at home. Everything's here for you. Have at it. And we would literally bring our chefs in and infiltrate their kitchen and all their bedrooms and take over. And we made them our home away from home. And so that was something that was really, really essential to our success as a team and to our perpetual unity as a group. And to this day, I've got 4 boys, and we travel a bit, not a ton because they're young, but we travel a bit. And every time we do, we look for some kind of a vacation rental to be in that is not a hotel, that isn't all stuffy and weird, that we can kind of take in and take over and make our family place on the road. So, right? So it works for me in a professional level. As an athlete, it worked for us immensely. Hint, hint. And so if any of you are, have places, I know I met a gentleman from Maine. I don't know if you've got I don't know if you've got stuff there, but you guys might want to think about it, okay? If you've got a team that's coming in to participate and they're going to be there for a minute and the nationals are there, you want to be a part of that and make sure that you offer that, because those teams that have that unity, they're going to look for that kind of an environment, and then they're going to have success, and then you get the knowledge of spreading that love to them, and they have the success, and then it's just this big circle. Because actually the definition of unity is harmony, or in physics, it's actually a circle. So you're creating full circles everywhere you go, and I just want to thank you for creating those circles in the universe so that they can vibrate on a bigger plane as well, and this whole world can pick up on it and start getting to a better place instead of this segregation. Because coming together as a team, instead of, we win and lose separately. There's only one step on the podium that everybody wants, and everybody wants it. So we won and lost separately. But the way that we ensured that more of those steps were occupied was to create the unity in the family. So I want to encourage you guys to keep it up. And if you're the veterans, like I saw you raise your hands, it's on you now to be the mentor, to seek out the young one that's new and in the program, that's scared about being there and may not know how to approach you, may not feel like they even can approach you because they haven't done enough yet to be able to ask you any of those questions. And it can be reciprocal. Okay, when I blew my knee out in 94, right before the Lillehammer game, or I blew it out in 96, right before the 98 games in Nagano, and I had 14 months basically to get back in the saddle and get back in the show. And I professed from the day that I blew my knee out, punching my fist into the snow, yelling all kinds of obscenities, that I didn't order up a blown out knee. I ordered up another downhill title and 2 gold medals in Nagano. And I was pissed that I wasn't going to get the chance to go pull that off. Well, I worked and worked and worked and pushed and pushed and pushed, and Dr. Stedman called me the inpatient patient, and I was manipulating my scar tissue, and I was going to 3 sessions of therapy a day and doing everything I could do. And when I got back to skiing, they had introduced a new technology to the sport called the parabolic ski. It has combined the classes and allowed for a lot of synergy in the sport. But boy, at that time, I was kind of like, man, I don't need that much help making my turns. I don't need the radius in this ski telling me where this turn is going to start and finish. I wanted to do it all on my own. And so I started struggling a lot with the new skis and how they worked and whether or not I needed to put as much effort into them as I was. And the key to the turnaround on that for me was one of my younger teammates that I had worked with a lot when she first got on the team, because she was kind of shy and quiet and really kind. She had the most phenomenal ability to leave everything on the hill. She could win and she'd show up at lunch with one look on her face, and she could lose and she would show up with that same look on her face. And she had a lot to teach all of us. And I remember going to her and going, what is the deal with these skis? And she said to me, you got to just kick back, man. You got to just like set them on edge, park them, and ride them, and make sure you set them in the right spot. And I just was astonished looking at her like, are you serious? So I finally figured out how the parabolic ski worked. And I can remember I drew number 2 for the Super G in Nagano. And a lot of people thought that that was a risky number for me to choose. And I wouldn't have a whole lot of knowledge about what was happening on the course from the earlier forerunners. And so I was kind of rolling the dice on that one. And I chose that number for 2 reasons. One, because I knew the snow conditions were so poor that the snow was just going to peel away from underneath my feet. And I was going to be able to run a much straighter, much riskier, much more what we call bad boy line down the course than anyone coming after me was going to run. And let's face it, everybody knows the fastest way from point A to B is a straight line, as long as you don't lose too much momentum, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm going to run 2. I'm going to run the bad boy line, and y'all are going to be down in my at the bottom of the turns. And I'm going to run on my 4-year-old downhill skis that I won my silver medal in Lillehammer on, that I don't have to park and ride. I can make them turn where I want them to, and I'm going to get them hauling by the 4th gate. You watch. So I had all this tenacity in mind, and we check out the course, we do our inspection, and I can feel the bullseye on my back, right? You know how when you're the one to beat, you can kind of feel it. People are looking at you, you kind of hot spot, you're like twitchy and itchy, and they're all looking at me in the course inspection. And I am so uncomfortable by the time I get to the bottom of the inspection that I actually cut out early and depart the course early. Now, we're in Japan. Sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing in Japan, but the right hand does know that they should stop you, even though they don't know why, but the left hand's up to something. Well, I was like, get out of my way. And the guy was like, in front of me with his big craw. No. I said, slid over this way, and he, no, got back in my face again. And little did I know he was actually trying to protect me, but I was like, I'm trying to avoid the media and everybody in the finish. I'm ducking out early. Please get out of my way. And he finally just steps to the side like, so I go skiing out around the stadium, right, feeling all tough guy, yeah, the little Triumph badass. And I go around the corner, and they're laying out hay bales for the traffic to walk on. And there's one about every whoop, me, then here's a new one, and then the next table, and I'm hauling by the time I get around the corner. And I'm on hay. I don't know if you've ever tried to ski on hay, but it doesn't really work. It's like being on a set of hockey skates. And so I literally just had to straighten it up, and I had to just pray to God that I could hop those bales, that my tail wouldn't catch, I'd have enough momentum going, and I ended up making it around those bales and around the bottom, and when I got around the bottom, Jonna was standing there, my teammate, looking at me. How's it going? I was like, whew, give me a minute, I'll let you know. I'm kind of freaking out right now. I think I just about killed myself. She's like, all right, well, now you got that out of your system. Let's take a chairlift ride. I need to talk to you. And I'm going, wait a minute. I see my dad. He says to me, I feel it. I can feel it. Today's the day. I can feel it. I'll see you in the finish. We're going to be celebrating. And I'm like, all right, Dad, I'm glad you can feel it because I just about killed myself. My head's spinning, and I'm going to talk to one of the juniors on the chairlift like she's my boss. And we get on the chairlift, and she looks at me, and she goes, I don't know what happened to you in RA Sweden when you hit your head, but you need to get it together. Straight out. And I'm looking at her going, you little punk. And she's like, that's right. I'm getting ready to race you in the same race for the same 3 medals, only you have a bullseye on your back. You know it, and everybody else knows it, that this course is set for you, this thing is ready for you, everything is lined up, and you need to get it together and wrap your brain around it, and you need to win today. And when you do win, and here was the kicker for me, right? Yeah, everybody wants to stand on the top step of the podium. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants that gold medal that they've wished on 11/11 on the clock, and every birthday cake, and drawn the rings in the frost on the windows of the bus that I rode for 45 minutes to and from school. Everybody wants that step, but what she promised me was even better than that. She said, when you win, I'll gather the entire team and all the coaches and all of our support group, and we'll all come down to Nagano and watch you get your medal. And I was like, yes, you got a deal. I'm in there. And by the time she just got done pumping that up for me and telling me how much she believed in me, I was rock and roll ready to go. So I did a nice warm-up. I walked into the lodge for a nice cool-down. And Jean-Luc Crétier, super hottie from France, who had just won the downhill for the men, looks right at me and he goes, hey, hottie, your turn. Gives me a high five, and then continues with the high five and slaps me right on the ass. And I'm carrying my helmet in my hand by the back of it, and I literally just dropped it, straight out dropped it on the ground. Like, doge, did he really just do that? I hit it on the ground, and I actually broke my face mask. Yeah, the hinge, right? And my art teacher from high school had been painting my helmets. It was the awesome Bengal tiger. It was the bottom of the whole jawline. It was super cool, not to mention the protection of my face that my mom would kill me if I raced without. So I was like, no way, what am I going to do? And I mean, I'm literally 15 minutes from racing. So I just kind of took a deep breath and went and potty and got organized and got down to the start. And I handed it to my 6'6" serviceman from Canada who could barely ski himself, which the man's a genius with skis, but I oftentimes worried how he was going to get to the bottom to celebrate. I handed it to him and I said, here, cookie. I kind of and showed him, and he's like, oh, interesting. All right, see you in a little bit. And I turned to put my headphone back on, and I hear duct tape. And I'm thinking, we got the top level of the world, and you're just busting out some silver duct tape? Yep, he did. Busted out silver duct tape, taped that face mask together, and it was good as new. Boom, we were done with it. And it was like, oh, done with that hurdle. All right. And so then there were 2 more gears I needed to grab, right? Because by then I was in about 4th gear, ready to rock and roll. So I get to the start to get my, to take my headphones off and get everything organized, and I hear Ken Reed from the Canadian television go, oh, Picabo Street, drawing number 2 today. Pretty early number. Guess we'll just have to wait and see how that one turns out. And I don't know why. I mean, pretty logical statement for him to make. It's Super G. There's not a lot of forerunners. It pissed me off so bad I couldn't stand it. I was like, oh, really? It was like the guy from Texas. Nobody's going to book a reservation. And you were like, ha. I was like, And I literally said, inside of myself, I said, you'll see how that's going to turn out. 5th gear I grabbed on that one. And then 6th gear came when I got in the start. I listened to my coaches on the radio tell me all the things I needed to think about in each section on the way down the course. And they start at the top and they work with their way to the bottom. And when you get your last report, it's the last dude at the bottom. They should do it backwards, I think, maybe. That might work better neurologically, but we're still working on that one. But anyhow, he goes, stay left of center on the bottom jump. Make sure you're left of center on the bottom jump. Make sure you're left of center on the bottom jump. Beep. And I'm out of the start. And I can hear my service tech, I can hear my physio, and I can hear 2 of my teammates that I had never, ever heard cheer for me out of the start before. Because it was the Olympics, and we had all gotten to a level where we were racing near each other. And to hear those 2 girls, go, 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 go! It was insane how much it motivated me to drop the hammer on the top part of the course. And I just skied like a mad woman. I left everything on the hill. I skied the bad boy line that we had looked at. I felt the snow peeling out from underneath me, and I was like, I literally said to myself on one turn, like, oh, this turn's gonna suck in about 4 more racers. Literally, like, I go around the big basketball turn. I make such a huge mistake on that turn, and I'm telling you, the brink of greatness, greatest run of my life, biggest mistake I had ever made and stayed in the course in my life too, right? Around the basketball turn, both skis come up, flap down, doosh, 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 lose about what felt like about 0.3 of a second in space and in momentum. And I got super mad and just dropped in those next 4 gates, skied them super sketchy, came around that big old jump and launched and was like, oh, that's a lot of air. And that's when it kind of hit me like, oh, you're having one, sister. You better keep this together. Oh, wait, left of center off the bottom jump. That's right, left of center. And so we're going down the bottom pitch, working all these rollers, trying to get left of center off that bottom jump so that I didn't have whatever was the consequence that was out there for me. I didn't know. All I knew was left of center off the bottom jump because Marian, the little Czechoslovakian guy, was like screaming it at me. So I go off that bottom jump, and good thing I was left of center because it had a drift in it that just kind of carried us. And I mean, I launched here and landed about you, blue shirt. Whoop, and was like, what was that? Right inside the finish post, and just stuck my head and went across the finish. And I remember thinking to myself, that was super fun and really sketchy. I'm glad I'm down here. Oh, how's my time? And I look, and I can see I'm 1.35 ahead of Ingeborg Helen Markin, who had been a consistent podium skier in Super G on the World Cup, and I had to do a big double take. You can check the video. I was like, and I kind of do this look like, no way, whoa. I'm thinking that might have been a medal run. I better pump one just in case, right? So I pump my one. I'm like, just in case, I better pump it for the video, right? Woo-hoo-hoo! And give a big old one. And then I had to sit there and wait for all my friends to come down and everybody to come down. And I ended up winning by 1/100th of a second. The smallest margin ever, yeah. And when I was like 8 or 9 years old growing up here in Sun Valley, my father broke his arm in karate class. He's kind of tough like that too, and he thought he could block a roundhouse kick with a forearm. Yeah. Not such a good idea. Wrapped his arm around Ed Redmond's leg and ended up driving the bus for the season because he couldn't do stonemasonry. And that year that he drove the bus, he had a man named Jean-Claude Keeley riding his bus. Yeah, you know who he told Jean-Claude about me? Jean was like, what's her name? I'm going to remember her. Guess who put my gold medal around my neck? Jean-Claude Keeley. Right? So the circles keep coming around. Pay attention to them. They keep coming full circle for you when there's harmony. And you've got to keep your eyes peeled for them when you can. Slow down enough to absorb them, but keep your head down and keep grinding on it and working on it, and it'll obviously pay off in the long run. So I'm stoked y'all are in Sun Valley. I hope you have a wonderful time. Thanks for listening to my crazy stories. If you're wondering about my name, it's an Indian word that means shining waters, and my dad fell in love with it the first time he saw it, and it took him literally like 6 years to talk my mom into it. I'm baby girl on my birth certificate, and I was almost 4 by the time I actually got the name Picabo for a passport to travel to Mexico. So I've been on the go all my life, and maybe one day I'll be in one of your all's vacation rentals. Thanks for having me. Have a blessed day.